we're building a clean energy solution that is quietly creating a waste problem we don't know how to handle yet. And that become critical for a few reasons.
Mm-hmm.
For example, environmentally, if we don't solve this, we're just shifting the problem. We reduce the emissions, but we increase the waste. And economically, solar panels are not just a waste. So they contain valuable materials like aluminum, silicon. So today, a big part of value is simply lost. And the last one, maybe more important, is about scalability. If we want solar to truly be a sustainable technology, I think that circularity can be optional. It has to be part of the infrastructure.
Hey, welcome back to Women Disrupting Tech, and thank you for tuning in to episode 154. I'm your host, Dirkjan, and this is the podcast that closes the funding gap in venture capital by amplifying the stories of female founders and their investors. For years, we've scaled solar energy as quickly as possible. Millions of panels were installed to reduce our carbon footprint. But, as you'll find out in today's episode, when these solar panels reach the end of their lives, we do not have a clean way to recycle or upcycle them. Instead, many recycling methods either destroy material value or rely on harmful chemicals. Fortunately, today's guest is trying to change that. Andjela Bozinac is the co-founder and CEO of Renovo Recycling. Using robotics and physical AI, her company is building a way to separate solar panels layer by layer so valuable materials can be reused or upcycled. By listening to her story, you'll discover how Renovo's vending machine in reverse approach recovers materials without crushing or chemicals, why getting technology to work is only 30% of the job, and what the other 70% actually requires, how to sell urgency in Deeptech when you're building for a future problem, and why regulation in climate tech is a market, not a barrier. Plus, Andjela shares why now is the moment for women to enter AI and robotics. So when you're ready to discover how a female founder is fixing solar energy's hidden waste problem, here's my conversation with Andjela Bozinac. Andjela Bozinac, good morning. Good to have you on Women Disrupting Tech. So you're the co-founder of Renovo Recycling. Tell us how you got into that position, how you got started.
Yeah, hello. It's a pleasure to be here with you. So I didn't start with the idea to build a company. I started from a problem actually I couldn't ignore. So while working in engineering and sustainability, I kept seeing these contradictions. So we are scaling solar globally, which is amazing, but no one is really solving what happens at the end of life. So we are talking about millions of panels that will become a waste, and the current recycling methods are either inefficient or rely on heavily chemical processes. And as an engineer, that didn't side right with me. So it felt like we were building a green systems with a hidden gap. And at some point, I realized this wasn't just a technical issue, it was a system problem. And that's where the founder mindset kicked in, I think. I saw that this gap could become an opportunity to build something much bigger. So Renovo actually really came from that intersection. So engineering, sustainability, and timing, I think.
Okay. And I think you did a study in mechanical engineering, and you have a background in intellectual property. And I think you even did something along the lines of aviation in Belgrade.
Yeah, exactly.
So how does that play into this? You're an engineer, but How does the education help in spotting and solving?
Yeah, I think my engineering background really shapes how I approach everything today. It trains you to take something complex and break it down into smaller, so solvable pieces, let's say.
Mhm.
And in deep tech, especially, that's a critical because it's not about having a cool idea. It's about making something actually work in the real world. But what really influenced me is combining with the intellectual property thinking. So from day one, we started asking ourselves, can we build this? I'm also asking, can we defend this? Can this become a long-term advantages? So because in deep tech, your product is not just a machine, it's the knowledge behind it.
Mhm.
It's what you learn, what you protect, and how the compounds over time. So we've been building Renovo not just as a piece of hardware, but as a technology platform, something that gets stronger and more we develop it, uh, it's harder to be replicated.
And you also have a background, well, not a background, but you have a black belt in Taekwondo.
Exactly.
Does that help at all? Is there something that you take from the sports? Do you actually still practice Taekwondo?
Yeah, I'm active still. So martial arts actually shaped me more than I realized at the time.
Hmm.
So the biggest thing it taught me is discipline under pressure. So pressure either turns you into dust or into diamond, I think so. Because in startups, motivation comes and goes, and you can feel great one week and completely stuck in the next.
Hmm.
What really carries you forward is discipline, you showing up and doing the work anyway.
Hmm.
It also really changed how I see failure. You know, in martial arts, you lose all the time
Hmm.
and you get used to do it, but you don't see it as a defeat. You see it as a feedback. So you learn all the time. Like, okay, what do I just have to adjust? You know,
Hmm.
what do I improve? So, and that mindset is incredibly useful as a founder. I think so.
Yeah.
And then there's a respect for the process also. Honestly, deep tech is exactly like that. So you're building physical systems, things that take time, things that break, you iterate. There are no shortcuts. So
No.
I think that Taekwondo trained me to stay consistent, stay patient, and keep moving forward even when progress is not immediately visible.
Yeah. So there's also a bit of resilience. I hear you say.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think this is your first company. You also worked for or co-founded TreeBlock. Um, maybe tell us a bit about what that company was about and how you apply the learnings in your current venture, Renovo.
My first company is software as a service and was really my first deep dive into building something at the intersection of sustainability, technology, and real market adoption.
Hmm.
At the beginning, we were very ambitious. We tried to tackle a broad part of the ecosystem. Technically, a lot of what we built made sense, but
Hmm.
over time, I
And what
realized
did you build?
so it's a software as a service. It's about the ESG compliance. So we built the totally digitalized, AI supported ESG reporting system.
Hmm. Ah, okay.
And but over time, I realized something important. Even the best solution struggles if you don't enter the market in the right way.
Hmm.
That's the experience that really shaped how I think today. At Renovo, we've taken a completely different approach. Let's say instead of starting wide, we're starting very narrow with the solar installers, for example.
Hmm.
They're the ones who feel the pain firstly, so they
Hmm.
become a natural entry point. From there, you can expand in a much more organic, scalable way.
Mhm.
Personally, I became much more disciplined as a builder. At my first startup, TreeBlock, we sometimes build ahead of validation. Now we validate earlier. So this is a fundamental for every founder.
Mhm.
We build modularity and we stay very close to real operational constraints on the ground. So I say that big shift is this. Before I was focused on building the solution. Now I'm focused on building the right path to adoption.
So let's shift to the problem that you're solving with Renovo. Um, as you said, we build a lot of solar panels. We install them everywhere. I even have them on my roof, to be honest. And then at the end of life, it's sort of you just throw it out and doesn't get recycled. Yes, I think, but not in a really clean and green way.
Mhm. Exactly. If you look at what's happening globally, we're scaling solar energy incredibly fast,
Mhm.
which is great. I love renewable resources, honestly. But
Mhm.
at the same time, we are not really scaling what happens at the end of life.
Mhm.
And that's where the problem starts. So, in the next few years, we're going to see a lot of solar panels reaching end of life. Right now, there are basically two outcomes. So either panels end up in the landfill or they go through the chemical pyrolysis recycling processes that are expensive, energy intensive, and actually destroy part of the material value instead of actually
Mhm.
upcycling it.
Yeah.
So we're facing a bit of paradox. We're building a clean energy solution that is quietly creating a waste problem we don't know how to handle yet. And that become critical for a few reasons.
Mhm.
For example, environmentally, if we don't solve this, we're just shifting the problem. We reduce the emissions, but we increase the waste. And economically, solar panels are not just a waste, so they contain valuable materials like aluminum, silicon. So today, a big part of value is simply lost. And the last one, maybe more important, is about scalability. If we want solar to truly be a sustainable technology, I think that circularity can be optional. It has to be part of the infrastructure.
Yeah.
So we wonder to put the shift in thinking. It's not just about how many panels we install, it's about what happens after their end of life. Because that's what will define whether solar is truly sustainable or just temporary clean.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, we're just pushing out the problem into the future. That's
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. So I heard you say something interesting because with the chemical recycling methodology, we also lose materials. So either they end up on a landfill or they get, well, let's say, touched by the chemicals. So and there's, I heard you say aluminium, and probably there are other materials that we can reuse or should even reuse. What's the economic base case here?
Yeah, so we have the plastics, Tiddler and Eva, that is very useful for example, 3D stamping industry. So our
Mhm.
approach is to find pathways and supply chain also from the outcomes, and of course, this is upgrading the economy behind it for sure.
Yeah. So, out of curiosity, how did you find out that this problem exists?
So when I started looking into space, I thought
Mhm.
the problem was recycling itself. But pretty quickly, I realized that it's not just about the core issue, it's
Mhm.
how recycling is being actually done today. So,
Mhm.
most of the existing solutions rely on chemical processes. So, they
Uh-huh.
cover only part of the materials. And more important, they're very hard to scale economically. So, they're big, planned, centralized systems.
Mhm.
Even when recycling exists, it's not really solving the problem crucially in sustainable way.
No.
But the real turning point for me was something more operational.
Mhm.
So we starting looking at where the problem showing up in the real life, in the operational life.
Mhm.
It's not in the recycling plants, it's on the field actually. So solar installers are the ones dealing with the problem. So they're placing it, they're doing logistics, and they're actually treating somehow the waste.
Mhm.
They're the first to face the issue, but they don't have the tools for to support this infrastructure
Mhm.
that handle it efficiently.
Mhm.
So there is the problem. The problem happens in one place, but the solutions are designed somewhere else, for example. And that's where the idea behind Renovo actually pop up. Instead of starting from large, centralized recycling facilities,
Mhm.
we asked ourselves, okay, what if we started from the point of the friction?
So
And
really at the point where the solar panels come back
exactly. So,
from.
oh,
Let me see if I understand this. So these solar panels are installed and they reach the end of life. I call a solar installer like, hey, you have to replace them. Is that how it works? And then they take it.
exactly. So
Okay, so then they bring it back to their facility, and then there's no process there. And
exactly,
if I understand you correctly, there is a process to recycle, but that's not, let's say, at the installer level. So they have to bring it to a large facility where they can do that.
exactly.
And is what you're building then a solution that solar installers can do this work themselves?
Actually, it depends on the country. On European level, there is a organized certificate systems that
Hmm.
can support and recycle the systems. What we offer is actually technology and approach of modularity. So we are cutting costs of the transport.
Hmm.
With a modular system, you're not losing your very value in transport, and you have a lower OPEX cost. You don't treat the input with the chemical agents,
Hmm.
and output is more efficient. So we are tackling also EVA and metal plastics. It's very let's say soft part of the sandwich structure.
Hmm. Yeah, but can the solar installers then sort of uh, how does it work? Can they business take out all the parts that they need to rebuild a solar panel? Is that how it can work? Or
Yeah, depends, as I said, of the country. If they are a certificate system, of course, they can have in their inventory system modular machinery that can actually um, transport our output in the supply chain. So that's the idea. You're not actually losing your value in the transport
no?
to some centralized system.
Hmm. So how does that work? Because you're in Italy, uh,
Exactly.
um, let's take Italy as an example. So do they have the system as you described with the licensing?
Exactly. It's the build on the consortium level, and you have the inventory from where actually the solar panels are transported to the centralized systems.
Okay, cool. How do you deconstruct these solar panels without chemicals? Because currently we use chemicals to do that. So how do you do that without? What does the solution look like? Is it a robot or is it?
Mhm. So let's think first of a solar panel, not
Huh?
as a object, but as a
Hmm?
perfectly layered sandwich of valuable materials. So
Yeah.
glass, aluminum, silicon, etc. They're bonded together.
Hmm?
Now the problem when end of life is reaching, the most
Hmm?
recycling today basically crush them everything together. So you lose value, you lose your purity, and a lots of potential. We do opposite. We don't destroy panels. The simple way to picture it is like a vending machine. So you put your panel, and instead of mixing output, you get each component back, so clean and separate.
Mm-hmm.
We do it mechanically. We separate each layer by layer, control with our invention tool inside of the box in a controlled, precise way with a robot, industrial robot. So
Mm-hmm.
every material can be recovered at high purity and reduced once again. But the real innovation isn't just how we do it; it's where and how the system actually lives. So, as I said, traditional recycling is centralized, heavily on chemical intention. So you collect waste, transport it, process it in a one big facility. We flipped the model. So we are building modular system. That means it can adapt at different volumes. It can be deployed closely to where panels are actually stored, and it can scale over time step by step. So instead of massive plant, you have a distributed network of, let's say, intelligent recovery units.
Mm-hmm.
From recycling as destruction to recovery of precision and engineering.
Yeah.
Um,
So I want to go back to something you said earlier because you're targeting solar panel installers and not the production facilities. Um, and you said it was a better entry point. Why is it that it's a better entry point?
okay. Because actually that's where the story of the solar panel actually ends. So, and where the real problem begins.
Mhm.
We often think about solar panel at the moment it's installed, clean energy, future, sustainability.
Mhm.
But fast forward 20, 25 years, who is standing there when the panel comes out of
Yeah.
the roof? And that's the installers, not the manufacturer.
No.
So they're the ones. So they're dealing with the broken or aging panels, managing the logistics,
Mhm.
and figuring out what do we do with this now.
Yeah.
So while manufacturers are focusing on creating the next generation, installers are dealing with consequences of the last one. That's where the friction is. That's where the urgency is. That's exactly where we decide to start.
Mhm.
And the second is speed. If you try to enter throughout manufacturers, you step into a world of long validation cycles, certification, and years of integration before everything moves
Mhm.
on. At installers, they are actually operate in the real world. They need solutions now, something that reduce costs, simplify operations, and just works on site instead of waiting years. We can create impact immediately. Yeah, there are like more strategic layer. By working with installers, we are not
Mhm.
just selling a solution. We position actually ourselves at the origin of reverse supply chain.
Mhm.
We see the panels first. We understand their conditions. We control how they enter the recovery process. So that's actually where installers are.
So they also get a bit better understanding about the product and what maybe later on what parts they can reuse on site and what parts still need to go to
Exactly.
some sort of bigger facility.
Exactly.
So one of the things when we spoke before, you mentioned that you're sort of building a physical AI. How does AI play into what you're building? What's the physical and the physical part? I think we've talked about, but the AI part, I'm just really curious about that.
So physical AI for us is very simple to understand, and intelligence does not stop at analyzing data, but actually acts in the real world throughout machines.
Mm-hmm.
Most AI today lives in software. It recommends prediction optimized decisions, but it does not touch anything. In your case, the value is creating when something physically happens, when a panel is actually taken apart. Physical AI is a combination of seeing, thinking, and doing the system. Use sensors and vision to understand what it's looking at it uses AI to detect the best way to handle it, and the robot to execute that decision in precise way. And this is where the shift happens. Traditional machine does not the same thing every time. It follows the fixed sequences, no matter what you give it. So
Yeah.
our system actually position the solar panel, recognize is it correct, and then after that, it actually support the separation of the materials and give the data from the out.
Yeah. So it also recognizes the materials.
Exactly.
So is it sort of like you used to have this login feature? I forgot what it was, what the name was, but where you had to click on all the pictures with a car in it. Is that how you also train your AI?
Exactly, because every solar panel have a certain QR code, certain
Huh.
data, and from the data, we actually gather the data from the manufacturer. So we
Mm-hmm.
know the serial number, we know the values and of the materials. As that, the second part is positioning. So we are positioned the solar panel on the table inside
Uh-huh.
of the machinery. After that, the robot actually starting to manipulate invention of the tools
Uh-huh.
as the recoveries happen. And in the end, actually AI supporting the recycling, sorting it in the bins, and every bins actually is collected with the data. So how much of those values are recovered?
Oh, okay. So is it also does it also look at the original specs? Like there's 5 bits of plastic in there, and now there's 5 also back in the bin.
Exactly. It's also supporting, let's say, traceability. So
Yeah.
if you have average value of the solar panel is 25 kilograms, so I know exactly how much of aluminum, silicium, or even plastics I have from one.
Yeah. Yeah. So another thing that I was wondering about, because you're sort of building ahead of the curve, so to say, in the sense that this volume of solar waste is slowly growing, but the real peak is still ahead. How do you build a company for a problem where there's starting to get a level of urgency, but it's not like it's still maybe not the main headache that everyone wants to solve right now. How do you keep that on track?
hmm This is actually the kind of market we uh, deliberate choose to be in,
Huh?
because the wave is coming, but most people do not feel it yet,
Huh?
and that creates a unique window for us. The important thing is this: it's not a hypothetical problem; it is delayed certainty.
Huh?
Solar panels last around 25 to 30 years,
Huh?
and huge volume installed in the early 2000s,
Huh?
now approaching their end of life. So the
Yeah.
question is not if this become a massive issue, but when, right?
Yeah.
And the completely change how you build a company. So we are not waiting for the problem to explode. We are using this quiet phase to prepare for it.
Huh?
First, we enter early and validate before the peak. We work with the players who are already starting to feel the first, let's say, signs um, of this problem. So
Huh?
installers, recycler, utilities, and that gives us really real data, real feedback, and real use case, not just assumptions. We are also focused on building the infrastructure before demand spikes, because
Huh?
when the wave hits, it is already too late to start from zero.
Huh?
So today we are validating, as I said, we are in fundraising maturity level 5. So the technology have to be aligned with the regulation and integrating into supply chain, so that we are ready to scale when volume actually increases.
Yeah.
And we are also design everything for exponential growth. not linear growth. So we are avoiding building something oversized too early, and instead we use our modular system to scale
Mhm.
step by step in parallel with the market. So in reality, we are not betting on timing. We are actually engineering readiness.
Mhm.
We are using a pre-pre phase, let's say, to become most validated, uh, the most integrated. Yeah.
Okay. So, as I understand it, you're currently raising funding. Do you have pilots in some way, shape, or form?
We're at the pre-pilot stage, so on the maturity level of 5 on the scale of the maturity of the technology, which is one of the most critical and honestly one of the most exciting moments in the
Hmm.
deep tech journey, because this is where you move from idea to reality.
Yeah.
And our focus so far has been very clear. The risk, the fundamentals. We didn't try to do everything at once. We focused on answering the questions at a time. Does this actually work? Yes. And when we proved that a chemical free physical approach can separate
Hmm.
key components of the solar panel while preserving their quality. So that's a big shift because it shows you don't need to destroy materials to recover them. And second question, does the market actually care about this approach? So we spend a lot of time talking to installers and industry players.
Yeah.
And what came back was consistent. So the current process is efficient, expensive, and often just headache. So there is a really interest in something that is more flexible, let's say more local, and easier to integrate into their daily operations. So
Yeah.
that gave us a strong validation that we are solving a real problem. And we are also asking ourselves, can this become a system? Because it's a modularity
Hmm.
approach, not just a technology.
Hmm.
And this is where we define the modular approach. So something that can scale operationally, not just in the lab. So because in the end, technology alone is not enough. So deep tech have to accept this reality. It has to work as a business. So now the next phase is where things get even more real. So we are moving from lab to build something that is working in the real environment, something that can operate in real condition with real partners. So we want to see how it performs on site, how fast it works,
Yeah.
and how actually value we can actually recover. At the same time, we are validating also economics because scalability is not just about engineering; it's about
Uh-huh.
numbers. And alongside that, we are starting to build our first commercial relationships. So in parallel, we are raising funds to accelerate technology because in deep tech, there is always a gap between saying it works and proving it works in the real world.
Yeah. Yeah. And for the proof, you actually need to pilot. So I imagine that the next stage will be when you have funding. Is the funding conditional for being able to do pilots, or is that separate?
Oh, that's a big question because yeah, unfortunately, it depends on fundings, of course.
Okay.
So, but I will have to say that we bootstrapped our technology for 1 year
Hmm.
and we reached maturity of level 5. So there's a lot of passion, a lot of maybe also support on the national and European level from the
Hmm.
grants. I will add, but it's not enough to support that technology to be industrialized. So yeah, we are fundraising actually our technology to be industrialized.
Yeah. And then with the funding you can get pilots.
Exactly.
Okay. So the reason I was asking that sometimes you can get like subsidies for pilots to test out technologies like this in real world. So that's why I was wondering. So how do you convince other parties in the supply chain of the urgency that now is the time to start building, to start testing this, to start doing pilots to make sure that it works when peak hits?
Cool. You don't convince people by talking about the future. You convince them by showing what is already happening today, because
Mhm.
the biggest mistake is trying to sell, let's say, 250 problem when most people are focusing on what affects them now.
Yeah.
So also in the fundraising,
Mhm.
so we shift the narrative completely. We do not say one day this will be a huge issue. We show that is has it has already started. So solar panels are already being stored. So today, due to the demand, inefficient or early replacement and regulation like WEEE already require companies to manage their end of lives.
Mhm.
So now, not in 10 years, not in 30 years. So instead of positioning Renova as a future innovation, we position it as something that helps them stay compliant and prepare for today. So then we anchor everything in real signals, not projection. We talk about actual panels coming off roofs, real efficient in current recycling, and real partnership and pilots.
Mhm.
We're putting to the conversion moves from vision to evidence.
Yeah.
So the real turning point is this: we do not selling urgency; we sell economics. Even before the peak, there is already value in recovering highly
Ah,
quality materials.
yeah. So basically, you're selling the current business case, not a potential future business case.
Exactly. So,
Ah.
like solution for the current issue.
So and then it sort of becomes urgent now for the solar installers.
Exactly.
Yeah. So um, what role does regulation play? Because the European we're in the European Union and we're quite let's say we have quite a bit of green regulation that both supports the solar panels to be installed, but also supports that it gets treated in a environmentally climate friendly way. How much support is coming from there? How much of the business case is coming from there?
Yeah, the most heavily, let's say, procedure is rely on a manufacturer, so they are actually obligatory to look whole supply chain of their product.
Hmm?
So actually, they're our good clients for sure.
Hmm?
uh, and they have to have the traceability. There's also where the physical AI pop up. So we're offering also a quite good traceability from scanning QR coding from the manufacturer
Hmm?
throughout output. You can totally trace the one product. So from the production to their end of life and to upgrading system throughout modular recycling.
Hmm. Okay. So I just want to go back to the AI bit for a minute because I was wondering, um, what's the biggest opportunity here? Is that just do you plan to stay with the AI and the object recognition and taking a complex product apart and enabling it to be recycled? Is that just confined to solar panels, or do you see possibilities in other industries as well?
Yeah, we started with the solar panels,
Hmm?
uh, but our idea is to offer a modular system for small infrastructure. So could be our pivot in the future scaling. Yeah, for sure, AI is a big support in our technology that is working with robotics. So yeah.
Yeah. So what is the robotics part of this product? Maybe also touch a bit on that.
So imagine one box that have industrial six axis robot
Hmm?
that inside actually manipulate the tools.
Uh-huh.
So, uh, robot actually doing the work in a autonomous way. So as that taking the tools, he actually approached the solar panel layer by layer,
Uh-huh.
as that the system is totally uh, independent.
Yeah. So do you build the robots yourself, or is that something you buy off the shelf and then install the software in it?
No, we actually buy any industrial robot. Our invention lay in the process,
Mhm.
lay in our developed tools that is manipulated by industrial robot.
Okay. So the it doesn't matter what type of robot, maybe even a solar installer has one, and
Exactly,
but then you can use your the physical AI to help them deconstruct the solar panels.
exactly.
Yeah. So I want to switch to some practical tips for founders. Let's say people who are building in deep tech or in climate. You're currently moving from idea phase into practical application in the real world. So phase five. Um, what is something that is often underestimated about that journey?
Hmm, good question. Um, the biggest thing founders underestimate is this: getting the technology to work is maybe 30% of journey. Getting it adopted in real world actually is the other 70%, because in deep tech and climate tech is a huge gap between saying it works and having something actually uh, pay for it.
Yeah.
So most founders fall in love with their innovation, but in real challenge, uh, yeah, it's a little bit different. Um, so most founders really challenging integration. You can build something incredible, but it
Mm,
does not fit into existing infrastructure, workflow, and regulation. It simply will not be used. So
mm,
in our case, it's not enough to recycle panels better. You have to plug into logistics system, compliance workflow, and certificate process. So adoption is not just about how advanced you are; it is how easily you fit in real world, I think.
yeah.
So then there is the reality of sales cycle. So founders often think if the technology is stronger, customer will come. But in reality, you're dealing with long, non-linear processes. So
Mm,
multiple stakeholders, lots before contracts, and decisions that can take months or even years, because you're not just selling a product, you're changing a part of the industrial system, let's say. Another thing people underestimate, I think, regulation may see it as a barrier, but in climate tech, I think it's actually the market. If you're aligned with our earlier, accelerate everything. If you ignore it, you get blocked.
yeah. So there's the regulatory part that I hear you say, but the big what is the biggest sales argument then? Is it the fact that companies have to comply with regulations and that you quote unquote make it easy to do that, or is it that you have a process that or a solution that helps them get more materials out in this case and does that in an easy way.
So, firstly, this is a hardware reality,
Huh?
very different from software things.
Huh?
So, break times, timelines, sleep cost increase, and moving from something that works in lab to something that works in real world consistently is one of the hardest steps, I think. So, there is what I would call the last mile problem.
Uh-huh.
Even if your technology works, you still need installation, training, maintenance, and reliability, and that's where many solutions fail. So the real shift for funders is to stop asking, can we build it, and start asking, can the market absorb? So every time is a reflection of what market think about it. Because success in deep tech does not came from the breakthrough alone. It came from designing the entire system around it, who uses it, how can it be deployed, how it integrates, how it creates value in the real world.
Mhm.
So this is the core.
I also saw something that touched me a lot. A movie on LinkedIn. We'll link to it in the show notes. You want to inspire other women to go into tech. Why is that?
So um, for me, the opportunity it's much bigger than just working in tech. It's
Huh?
about being in the position to shape a little bit of the future instead of just adopting to it. Because
Mhm.
right now, here in the moment, I think where technology like AI, robotics are redefining entire industry.
Mhm.
And if you're enter in these fields today, you're not just choosing a career, you're influencing how the system, infrastructure, and even society maybe will work in the next 10, 20 years. And what makes this especially powerful for young women is timing. You're entering while the rules are still being written. So these industries are still evolving, which means there is less legacy, more space to lead earlier, and more opportunity to define what leadership actually looks like. So
Why is it important for women particularly to enter into this space?
for women, I think that for me was to liberate my ideas, to explore, to be in an environment where I feel good, uh, and to expose my capabilities.
Mhm.
So I'm supporting every woman to show their background, to try to build the companies, even if they're failing. Uh, it's really good to explore and to deep dive in your curiosity.
Yeah. So about failing, the standard European mindset. I'm a bit shortcutting this, but is failure is bad. So if you go bankrupt, especially at least in the Netherlands, if you have sort of a stain on your dress for the rest of your life, how can women flip that narrative for themselves? Because I think that's my what I see is that it's that fear of failing is holding people back, not necessarily that they cannot do it, but many people just don't try the entrepreneurial part.
So the for the first step is like knowledge. Try to like add every layer of knowledge that you can have, and try to find a community that inspire your curiosity.
Uh-huh.
There's a bunch of community that's supporting activities in different sectors, different levels. So try to share your ideas. Also, before starting, try to validate your idea. So, in sense, try to speak with the people, share your ideas, communicate, trying to get as much as possible feedbacks. As that, you are became stronger, and for sure, failure will be weaker.
Yeah, is it also because you said that Taekwondo is all about failing and learning from it?
Yeah, for sure. Maybe it was my building blocks. Let's say, yeah.
Yeah,
So for me, the technology is like space. Not just the tech needs more women. Is that this is the one of the rarest moment where entering early gives you a um, opportunity to make something new. So to develop the skills, the vision is that you're not just participating; you are helping building the system. That's my
yeah,
message.
you're actually shaping not only just one company or one product, but in the entire let's say next 10 to 25 years of our lives.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful and something that women should be part of because it's also their lives.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I want to move towards the end. So really enjoyed talking to you. Two questions left. One is I'm developing an AI based funding coach to connect female founders with investors. Um, what do you think is needed? What is essential to ensure that a tool like this really empowers women?
Wow, that's a very powerful idea, I want to say.
Hmm.
A very needed one, but the difference between something that's truly empower funders
Hmm.
and something that just digitalize all BSs came down to a few critical choices you make early on.
Hmm.
So I think the tool should not just optimize for who looks fundable today. It should help identify who could become fundable with the right support. So a good funding coach, I think, should expand opportunity, not just ranking it. So transparency is key. Let's say
Hmm.
funders need to understand why they are getting certain recommendations,
Hmm.
what signals matters, what is missing, what can be improved. Because if the system feels like a black box, it can easily reproduce the same dynamics that already exist.
Hmm.
But, I love your idea. I'm supporting it. It's great.
Well, thank you. So, what support did you have so far in fundraising?
So we passed through different accelerator, and that dured like 3 4 months. And yeah, it was great. We are also involved in the AIT community, that's European Innovation Technology community.
Hmm.
Um, we are also tackling certain workshops, like sales workshops that we have all engineering background. Yeah, that's our activity.
Yeah. So, do they help those accelerators in your view?
Yes, I have to say that our national Italian accelerators are very good, very
Hmm.
supportive. So we pass throughout different activities like marketing, business development, also deal room data preparation, also demo days, investors meetings. Yeah, up to now it was very supportive.
Okay. And do you do the fundraising, or is that your co-founder, or do you do that together?
So I'm a co-founder. I have the role of CEO. So I'm also doing the fundraising. So
Hmm.
we are entering in the discussion with the VCs, business angels.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's my role.
Okay. And currently, in terms of investors, who are you looking for?
So we are looking at VC that are in the deep tech or robotics or climate tech industry that could support our vision for the modular system
Hmm.
and to scale with us in the more sustainable and practical way, let's say.
Yeah. And what ticket sizes do we need to think of?
So now we are raising 1,700,000 with a save mechanism
Hmm.
uh, uh, in the end of the 2026.
Okay. And that's a total sum you want to raise. And but are there uh, if I come with a €2,500 ticket, am I welcome?
Of course. So we are in the pre-seed, pre-revenue phase. We validate our technology up to 2026. So
Hmm.
we want to reach a holy maturity.
Hmm.
This ticket will support us to build the pilot. We already have signed for letter of interest, and will support to deploy 5 units in 2027. So
Okay.
after that, we will prepare for seed round.
Yes. So, Andjela Bozinac, thank you very much for an amazing conversation. Really enjoyed it. If people want to learn more about you and connect with Renovo Recycling, where would you like to send them?
Thank you. It was also my pleasure to be here today with you. So the easiest way is to start with our website. So on the Renovo recycling.it,
Yeah.
and you can reach out also on LinkedIn or YouTube channel Renovo Recycling. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. And I think even your pitch is there.
Yeah.
on YouTube. So we'll link to all of that in the show notes. Andjela Bozinac, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Listeners, thank you very much for listening. And until the next episode, as always, keep being awesome. Well, that's it. Thank you for listening to episode 154 of Women Disrupting Tech, titled How a Female Founder is Fixing Solar Energy's Hidden Waste Problem with Andjela Bozinac. Andjela and I hope that you found our conversation as interesting and insightful as we intended it to be. And if you have any questions for Andjela, please leave them in the comment sections on Spotify, YouTube, and or Apple Podcasts. I do read all the comments and I'll make sure you get an answer. If you want to connect with Andjela or learn how her journey with Renovo Recycling continues, please check out the links in the show notes. As usual, you can find the show notes at womendisruptingtech.blog and on my Substack via the links in the caption. If you found this episode useful, I'd love for you to take a moment to rate and review the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. And if you don't follow us yet, please hit the follow or subscribe button so you never miss a future episode. Once again, thank you for listening. I hope to see you in the next episode, and until then, as always, keep being awesome.